Take a swing. Come on, baby, take a swing at me.
So when I first heard about Happy Gilmore 2, I was deeply skeptical. This felt like, well, let's be honest, I just haven't been a super big Adam Sandler guy for a long time now. Now, I grew up with Adam Sandler. Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, Waterboy, all those old ones. 50 First Dates, a whole bunch of Adam Sandler when I was young. Happy Gilmore came out in '96, so I would have been 15, the age of my son now, which is crazy. I even had like the Adam Sandler cassette tape with his songs and weird sketches, like really, 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 really dirty stuff on there. It wasn't just like the Lunch Lady song, the Sloppy Joe song. Sloppy Joe. He had like at a medium pace and like all this really gross stuff, but it was funny. So I've, back in the day, I loved Adam Sandler, and I think he's done some more serious work that I've also really enjoyed. Like over the years, it's less common, but then he started doing a bunch of Netflix movies, and I just kind of stopped caring about Adam Sandler stuff. So then when I heard about Happy Gilmore 2, I was like, this sounds kind of like like a cash grab, a Netflix thing that I don't know, that I'm so cynical these days. I'm just so cynical. I'm so jaded. Anyways, I didn't, I was like, am I even going to watch it? Like, do I even need to watch this? Like, Happy Gilmore is a great movie. Does it need a sequel 30 years later? Almost 30. I think it's 29 years later. It's just insane to think about. Like, when I was a teenager when I watched Happy Gilmore. Now I have one teenager who's older than I was when that came out, and another who's the age I was when that came out. That's crazy. But then I was like, last night I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it because I'm too curious. So I watched it, and I really liked it. I should not make. Well, okay. I don't feel bad about having opinions before watching the movie, because you watch the trailer and you think, okay, this is going to suck or this is going to be good. You cannot help but make some kind of judgment call when you watch a trailer. And it drives me crazy when people are like, you're not allowed to have an opinion about that movie until you've seen it. It's like, I can definitely have an opinion when I see the Snow White trailer and those horrific dwarves. I can have an opinion about how that movie's going to turn out and just not watch it. I never have watched Snow White. I should do that, actually. I should do that because I need to subject myself to that. I need to tap into my masochistic side. Though I'm a critic, I'm much more of a sadist than a masochist. What can I say? Anyways, Happy Gilmore 2. I ended up really liking it. I think partly that's going in with low expectations, that can help. But I went into Superman and Fantastic Four with low expectations, and I didn't like either one of those. And I sort of tongue-in-cheek tweeted this and posted this on my socials, but I said that Happy Gilmore 2 is a better written movie than either Superman or Fantastic Four. And I actually think that that's true. Like, I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek because obviously Happy Gilmore 2 is a very lowbrow, dumb sports movie comedy. Like, it's stupid, right? But honestly, the movie does a lot of things better than these last movies I've reviewed here. I guess I should go over what happens. I'll do that in a second. I would say that it takes viewers on a better emotional journey than either of those films do. It facilitates our ability to care about our protagonist and to root for our protagonist in a way that those movies do not. Superman, for instance, you just have almost no agency for that character in James Gunn's Superman. He basically just reacts to events that are happening without really making any choices of his own. He doesn't really face any major internal struggle that would help us anchor ourselves emotionally to Superman. We don't get a lot of Clark Kent. We don't get a lot. Like, there's a little bit when he has the revelation with his parents. But for the most part, there's not much internal struggle. There's not many big, hard choices that Superman has to make. He just kind of goes from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. So we're never really connected with him on an emotional level. And the same thing is true in Fantastic Four, where like they sort of establish the world and this group of characters who refer to themselves as a family but never really act that much like a family. There's sort of this sense that Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman and Human Torch and Thing are all just kind of like roommates that kind of sort of know each other a little bit and pretend that they're a family. I don't know. It never really feels like a real family. And then Galactus shows up and there's a big showdown and it's kind of just over. Again, there's not like a lot of like internal conflict between this group that can help us sort of walk with them through their development, right? There's not a lot of conflict between, there's a little bit of conflict when Mr. Fantastic sort of toys with the idea of giving up their child to Galactus, but it's brushed over really fast, and there's nothing really, again, that helps us on that emotional journey with the characters. But in Happy Gilmore 2, this lowbrow comedy filled with potty jokes and really, really inane humor, we do get an emotional journey. We have, and there's going to be spoilers now, but Happy has, it's 30 years on. He got the girl, Virginia. They had 5 kids, 4 sons, and then finally they got the daughter they were hoping for. 5 kids, and then he accidentally kills Virginia with, when he hits a golf ball at a tournament and it hits her right in the face and she dies. So it's an accident. He doesn't mean to kill her. He doesn't murder her, but she dies because of him, and he is obviously really torn up about this. He gives up golf. He starts drinking. He forgets to pay the bills. He has no income, like he has no more income coming in or whatever. He mismanages the money or doesn't manage it at all. So he loses everything. He loses his grandma's house. He has to move the kids to a shitty neighborhood. The boys all end up moving out, and it's just him and his daughter, Vienna, I believe is her name. And he's hiding liquor everywhere, and he's drinking at work. He works at a grocery store. He's just fallen from grace, right? And that's kind of like he's hit the bottom, hit rock bottom. And then he finds out that, the dance instructor for his daughter is like, she's really good. She should go to the Paris Ballet Academy or whatever. And it's super expensive. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So he realizes he needs to make some money so that he can give his daughter, her dream. And so he goes back to golf. So this is obviously kind of, not exactly, but the kind of a setup for a very, formulaic sports movie, the underdog movie, the comeback kid movie, right? We've seen it in all kinds of different forms, but it's a classic format for this type of movie. And I wonder on some level if like the sports movie, that underdog movie with all the tropes that entails, I wonder if that is just better tuned to taking us on an emotional journey with our protagonist than the classic superhero movie. For a number of reasons, like superheroes are just generally not underdogs. It's harder to root for them because they're not underdogs. We have a natural tendency to want to side with an underdog, and in this case, Happy Gilmore, who is just a burnout drunk, and we want him to do better. We want him to do better for his kids. We want him to do better because we know he's a really good golf player, and we want him to be happy because he seems really sad and miserable. So there's all these reasons we want to root for him. And when he starts to do good again, right? First of all, he gets in an accident on a golf course and almost kills Margaret Qualley, who I don't know if she has a name in the movie or if it's just her, but he gets drunk and crashes his golf cart into theirs, and everyone gets hurt, and he avoids jail by signing up for a sobriety program, which ends up being run by Ben Stiller's character Hal L, who is the angry orderly from the first movie, and he's running this help Alkies. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's he's a terrible person, and he's really abusive, and nobody should ever put him in charge of helping addicts get better. But this is one thing that Happy has to overcome. But he does, and he stops drinking. And so here we are, rooting for Happy Gilmore to get his life together for his daughter, who's doting on him and who, he puts him to bed when he's drunk. And we don't want this version of Happy. He's sad. We want Happy or angry. We like rage-filled Happy Gilmore because he's funny. But But he goes to this tournament, and golf, as we know it, is being threatened by this new organization called Maxi Golf, run by a guy named Frank Manatee. And I guess this is like a parody of these new golf leagues that are like LIV. I don't know if that's supposed to be what Roman numerals, and then like TGL. I'm not a golfer, but I know there's these other golf leagues that have come in with new rules to make it faster and hipper and introduce more technology to the game and stuff. And I think this is a parody of that. But I'm not a golf guy. I've played golf like one time, and I was bad at it. And I was like, no. I play disc golf. I think that's fun. I think that'd be a good movie, actually, a disc golf movie. But I digress. Anyways, the top 5 people from the regular golf tournament are going to play in this challenge game against the top like top players from this Maxi Golf. And first they try to get Happy on their side, but he doesn't want to do that. And then this Frank Manatee, the guy, gets Shooter McGavin out of the mental asylum he's been in for the last 30 years. Tries to get him to join Maxi Golf, but Shooter's appalled by how insane it is. So he ends up teaming up, essentially, with Happy. But before all that happens, Happy has a great run. He gets 5th place in this tournament. He's wowing everybody. He's doing so great. And then Hal L reminds him that the next day of the tournament is Mother's Day, which is the day he accidentally killed his wife. And that throws him off his game. And so the next day he's doing terrible. He starts drinking. He gets really drunk. And we get this internal conflict. We get this, the comeback kid faces a setback, right? Which, makes us want to root for him even more. He needs to get his shit together, right? Anyways, I really liked all of that. I liked, and I like how it turns out. It's a happy ending. Everything gets, everything goes well for everybody, and everybody's happy in the end. And I like that. It's a feel-good movie. It's very wholesome. Wholesome, but with lots of swearing and innuendo and stuff. But for me, I think it just hit me on a lot of levels. Like, I'm much older now than I was when Happy Gilmore came out. And I'm watching this from the perspective of a middle-aged guy now. I'm not as old as Adam Sandler, but like, I relate, his kids. There's this one scene where he's looking at all his grown children, cheering him on from the sidelines, and then he imagines them little again. And I got to tell you, like, I got a little emotional watching that because my kids are 18 and 15, and watching that, I really related, like, oh man, they used to be little and they were so cute and they grew up so fast. And like, that hit me, like, that made me feel something. And, all the little goofy things, like he has to find a new happy place. It used to be Virginia when she was in lingerie holding 2 pitchers of beer, but now he doesn't drink beer. And he's an older guy, so his happy place is now like a pretty nurse showing him a low cholesterol result and medium pants that fit. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is how life goes, isn't it? Like, our dreams change, and we find joy in new things. And I don't drink anymore either, so I related on that level. So I related, I think, to Happy Gilmore in a weird way, and in a way that I didn't necessarily relate to him when I was a teenager watching the original movie. So that's probably influences my reception of this film, right? How it speaks to me on a personal level. Even though it's dumb and cheesy and lowbrow and so very Adam Sandler, like, it's still, it hits me. And I will admit, I find lots of Adam Sandler movies to be actually quite emotionally powerful. Like, if I watch The Wedding Singer, when I get to the scene where they're on the plane and he sings that "I Want to Grow Old with You" song to Julia, who's almost Julia Gulia, and he sings this cute, lovey-dovey song, I get teary-eyed every time I watch that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big softie, I guess, but it works, and I think Happy Gilmore 2 works, and I think I understand why it's divisive. I know there's like tons of callbacks and flashbacks, and they reference all the characters, and he brings in all these cameos, and it's like, it's the greatest hits. It's Adam Sandler at his most Adam Sandlery, and I understand for some people that might just be a turnoff, or they might see it as cynical somehow. I thought it was, again, I thought it was wholesome. I thought it was nice. It was nice to see Steve Buscemi and all these famous golfers and Eminem and, just a parade of cameos and callbacks and all that. And you know what? I don't care. It worked for me. I enjoyed it. I had a smile on my face the whole time. And by the end, I was like, yeah, that was the perfect movie for me tonight. Like it hit me on all the levels, and I don't even like golf. But it worked on every level. Now, is it as good as the first Happy Gilmore? I don't think so. Definitely not. No, but like, is it a worthy sequel? Yes, I think it is, and I think it's cool if you disagree, but I really enjoyed it. So give it a watch, especially if you are a big fan of Sandler's earlier movies. I don't want him to go making sequels for all of them. I don't think we need another Wedding Singer or another Billy Madison necessarily. But I'm glad we got this one. So let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and